But let's get to the situation at hand. That is the Super Bowl. We have the Kansas City Chiefs right now catching 2 with a total of 47.5, Thor. Let's just do it simple before we get into any prop bets that might intrigue you. Side and total for Super Bowl 58. Anything for you in the account already?
I don't need the points. Give me the Chiefs. And I'm going to be taking the all lines up to -7, -10. I really like the Chiefs in this game. Obviously, a team coming on at the right time. And you're going to give me the better quarterback, the better defense, the better coaching staff, in my opinion, in a game like this where we know that 4 of the past 5 years that they've played in it. I think Spags is going to have Purdy in a blender this entire game. Last year, these teams played 44-23 Chiefs. Garoppolo got most of it in that, but Spags was in his bag for that. I think he will be in this one again. The 6-man pressures, the overloads, the simulated pressures, all that different stuff. Just, again, confusing Brock Purdy. I think you're going to see him confuse Purdy into a couple mistakes there. Pat Mahomes is going to take care of the rest. I like the Chiefs.
Thor, everybody I've talked to, and it is literally everyone will come in. They've got an opinion on the side. No one wants to talk about the total. Seriously, nobody wants, and it's evidenced by the fact that this thing is sat at 47.5 for a week and a half now. What is it about this total that has everybody a little bit gun shy? Because I think everybody goes, if I like the Chiefs, I probably like the under, but no one's willing to really kind of like plant that flag.
I think it goes along with your handicap, right? And you know, I like the Chiefs. I definitely lean the under. I like the Chiefs side more than I like the total, but I certainly like the under as well and will be on the under for that reason, leaning the Chiefs.
Thor Nystrom joining us here at ThorKU on Twitter. All right, Thor, before we get to your observations of the Senior Bowl, both Matt and I love to bet the NFL draft. Obviously, we haven't seen a ton of offerings yet, and we'll have you on throughout the draft process. But before we get there, anything from a prop perspective jumping out to you? Obviously, there's props galore. Have you dug into the props and anything that you're looking to fire on?
You know I have, Tim. I did the parlay of the Purdy interception with the Chiefs money line. I did 2 Purdy interceptions with the Chiefs money line. I like the Pacheco overs. You know, again, the way that I see this game going, I think Pacheco is going to get over that yardage mark. I like Pacheco to score a touchdown as well. I'm on a lot of 49er underpassing, a lot of over Chiefs rushing, and then Chiefs on the side as well.
Thor, whenever we look at the receivers in this game, we know the Chiefs play very, very good outside against the outside receivers. I haven't heard a ton of people talking Ayuk and Debo either, kind of leading into the week here. I know you said you lean towards unders. I mean, someone's got to have success on the 49er side of things. Is it McCaffrey on the ground? Is it Kittle over the middle? Is it Debo running the little drag routes? Is it Ayuk figures a way to kind of beat these guys that really no one else has?
I would guess the manufactured stuff for both Kittle and McCaffrey, yes. I think Debo, if you're really starting to scratch for yardage, that's the guy that you're going to manufacture to on the outside. Ayuk could have some problems in this matchup just because of the strength of the Chiefs secondary. And again, my expectation that Purdy doesn't play very well in this game, that's what leads me to that. But yeah, I think the passing attack of the 49ers is going to skew way more conservative, trying to avoid those mistakes that I think are coming for Purdy, like I mentioned before. And I think that's where you get perhaps the over on the McCaffrey receiving, perhaps over on a George Kittle receptions.
Thor Nystrom joining us here on VSiN Prime Time. So rocking with the Chiefs, looking at some alt possibilities there with the Chiefs, some unique parlays with Purdy throwing some interceptions. Let's get to the Senior Bowl and your observations. As I mentioned, not a ton of offerings yet, but the one that Matt and I certainly are intrigued by it, and JVT, Jonathan Von Tobel, who joins me on a regular basis too, is quarterbacks in the first round, right? We are pretty confident in knowing that Caleb Williams, who, by the way, would have walked on today at Oklahoma. Anyone catch that? Yeah, that was interesting.
I saw that.
It's ridiculous. We've got Jaden Daniels, and we've got Drake May. We know 3 are going. You got to see up close and personal Bo Nix and Michael Penix Jr., who maybe could work their way into the first round. What was kind of the talk in Mobile regarding those 2 quarterbacks down there at the Senior Bowl?
If Bo Nix goes in the first round, the general manager for that franchise should be fired the next day and thrown in prison. Well, Bo Nick's a guy who struggled in the system beforehand at Auburn, where he had to sit back in the pocket, survey the field, and then throw it downfield. The stuff where he improved the last couple of years wasn't because of Bo Nick's improvements. It was because of the offensive system he was playing in. He had the third fastest release time in the NCAA in terms of, after the snap, getting it out, because they just did a bunch of funnel screens on the outside, different stuff like that, or screening it to Bucky Irving. They didn't make him sit back in the pocket. That's why he ended up having that 45-3 TDI&T rate, and why his pressure numbers are so good, because they just had him get the ball out right away. When you have Bo Nix sitting back there in the pocket and allowing him to survey his option downfield, that's where you start getting in trouble. His arm is solid in the intermediate range. He knows how to spin it, different stuff like that. The arm strength, though, is not a bazooka when you start going downfield, and he doesn't have the pocket presence for that either. He was inoculated from that because of the offensive system, like I mentioned. For me, he's a late third-round guy, maybe even a fourth-round guy. I know he's going to go above that in the NFL draft, but he should not be going in the first round. I would be very surprised if he ends up there. Michael Penix, I like him a little bit more because I like the arm talent a little bit more. He was better in Mobile for sure, but he was just sort of what we expected, right? Like the things that he was good at in college, the arm talent, for instance, spinning it, different stuff like that, that stuff for sure translated. But he also, the things where he struggled on his tape in college, he was still struggling with that in Mobile. And the primary thing the two primary ones, immediate pressure, especially from the interior. Penix badly struggles with that because he's not very mobile. And then the other thing is throwing on the run. If you can pressure that guy immediately, you get him dead to rights. We saw this in college. When he was moved off his spot, he was one of the least effective quarterbacks in the FBS. When he gets to stay on his platform and not move around at all, he becomes one of the most effective quarterbacks in the FBS. He's a guy who's a specific fit for certain kinds of offensive systems where they're asking you to sit back there in the pocket. They don't need you to move around, different stuff like that. He won't be a fit for other kind of teams. But for me, he's a round two guy. Penix isn't going to go in the first round either. The number is 4. J.J. McCarthy will be going in the first round. Those are your 4 quarterbacks.
Thor, I've talked myself into the fact that it's going to go quarterback, 1 to 3. Even if Chicago trades out, it's going to be to someone who wants a quarterback. We know the need in Washington, and then New England, even if they decide to get froggy and trade out, which they shouldn't, but if they decide to trade out, it's going to be someone, I think, probably coming up for a quarterback as well. Is that how you're starting to kind of lean here? Daniels, of course, getting a ton of love as well along the way over the last month or so.
1,000%. Whether it's just those 3 teams in those 3 slots staying there and that holding serve, or whether it's a team moving up, like you were sort of mentioning. But I do think it's going to go 1, 2, 3 quarterback, just because those quarterbacks are so good between May, Williams, and Daniels there. And then I think that where you have that alley of where it's Vikings, Broncos, Raiders, in that 11 to 13 kind of a range, I think that's where McCarthy ends up going. And again, I don't think one of those teams is going to be able to get there to Nix or Penix. That's where you have like a Christian Ponder, like, oh, we had to take a quarterback, but the rest of them were gone, so we'll just take one at 13. You'd like to think the NFL has learned from their lesson there. So I think we stop at 4 in the first round.
All right, Thor, before we let you run, 1 or 2 players in Mobile that you think worked their way into the first round.
I don't know if I'd say first round on Ladd McConkey, but he's dang close. If he doesn't go in the first round, he's going to go right away on Friday. Another guy that I would say like that blew the doors off in Mobile was Roman Wilson. Another guy who's probably going to play slot in the NFL. He's getting very close to the first round as well.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.